Hi, it's Christina at Cemetery of Choice. Today is August 20th, 2020, and I opened up my email today and I found a link to this article on LifeNews.com about a woman's death after leaving an Alabama abortion clinic on May 7th of this year. The article is written by Cheryl Sullinger, who is very, very careful about getting her information right. She is trying to get the autopsy report, and she is not planning to release the woman's name. Sometimes families do want to come forward, but all Cheryl is trying to do is get to the bottom of this and find out what's happening, because this is kind of fishy. And just to show you, I did find two what we call secular news sources that covered it. This Alabama news website covered it, and U.S. News and World Report covered it. And I'll provide links below to all three articles, to the pro-life site and to those two secular sites. So now, there is the possibility that the woman's death didn't have anything to do with an abortion. Now, the odds that somebody was at a high-volume abortion clinic for some care other than an abortion on abortion day is pretty slim, because on the high-volume abortion clinics, they want to process you. They want to bring you in. A lot of places, they usually have just one doctor, and they do not want to waste that doctor's time by having him actually deal with the patient. So what they'll do, they'll have maybe 2 procedure rooms or more per doctor, and one team will get the first woman all set up in the first room. Doctor goes in and does her abortion, then he can go across the hall. The second patient's all ready to go. The one team is cleaning up the first procedure room, getting woman number 3 in there. Doctor goes across the hall, works on that abortion. And this assembly line abortion was developed by Dr. Edward Campbell Allred in California in the early 1970s. And one of Allred's admirers said that he did for abortion what Ray Kroc did for hamburgers. So the idea that they would disrupt that ready flow to be providing some kind of care that's not an abortion is kind of slim. Now, is it possible that she had some other health problem completely unrelated to the abortion that caused her death? Yes, that is possible. But she was weak and needing assistance walking out to the car, which really, if somebody has suffered an injury, sometimes they'll say, I'm fine, I just want to go home. I'm fine, I just want to go home. And that, you have to be very careful as a medical care provider. And I learned this as an EMT, and I've seen it in a lot of abortion cases. Somebody's lost a lot of blood, they start to go into shock, and they start to decompensate, which is when their body can no longer kind of increase blood pressure or tighten down the arteries or increase the pulse or do things to make up for the blood loss. And it's like the person's body just goes, I'm exhausted, I can't do this anymore. And the person just crashes. But when somebody's starting to go into shock, one of the symptoms is that they will insist that they're fine and they just want to go home. And yes, you cannot hold a patient against her will. You cannot force her to get into an ambulance against her will. But you can cover your butt by having her sign papers admitting that she is leaving against medical advice and that you have told her you think she's going into shock, you think she needs emergency medical care. And especially when they've got a companion, telling the companion, keep a close eye on her. So at any rate, this was at West Alabama Women's Center in Tuscaloosa. And the pro-lifers noticed that the woman, and you notice they covered her face in this picture. They're not trying to violate her privacy. They just want to find out what the hell's going on in this place. They saw that she needed help walking out to her car. And sending women out who are horribly injured and not in any shape to be walking unassisted, this is something that abortion clinics do. When Erica K. Richardson was had her abortion performed, I think it was by Gene Crawford in Maryland, she was completely unresponsive, limp, lifeless. He carried her out to her aunt's car in his arms and said, "Oh, take her home, put her to bed." Her aunt was a nurse, took her to the hospital. It was too late to save her. Sharon Hamtlin in California. Bruce Steer had performed her abortion, pulled bowel, stuffed it back in. She's hemorrhaging. She's too weak to walk. He's already left when this woman is unstable, and the staff at the clinic just put her in a wheelchair and literally shoved her out the door, and she bled to death on the way home. And Sylvia Moore in Chicago, she was weak. She couldn't even stand up, and Dr. Arnold Bickham put her in a wheelchair and shoved her out the door. So this women who are on death's door just being sent, "You're not our problem, the abortion's done," is something that's happened before. So it would not really surprise me if this woman was hemorrhaging and they just didn't bother diagnosing it. Just like some of the cases with these other women and young girls who died. The pro-lifers complained to the Alabama Department of Public Health and the Board of Medical Examiners. The Department of Public Health told the pro-lifers that they weren't going to investigate. It wasn't their jurisdiction because somebody other than an ambulance crew took her to the hospital. Which, I mean, if they inspect abortion clinics, they should be worried about what happened to the abortion clinic at the abortion clinic, not who transported her to the hospital afterward. The idea that if you put her in a privately owned vehicle and she dies, big fat hairy deal, who cares? That doesn't make any sense to me. The abortion doctor there was Louis Payne, who was 81 years old. He retired at the end of July. Let's scroll down because they have some more information. The place had not been inspected since January of 2019. So whether there's some Gosnell stuff going on here that they're failing to stay on top of these clinics, hard to say. Like I said, the pro-lifers are trying to get hold of the autopsy report. They do say that they've seen an average of 2 women a month walking out of the clinic needing assistance and being taken to the hospital by staff in employee cars. And Carol Everett, who ran a chain of abortion clinics in Texas, talked about how she did that. They didn't want the bad publicity of an ambulance, so they'd walk the woman out to an employee's car. There's other clinics I can't remember off the top of my head that have been caught doing that. They just transport the patient. And this is one of the reasons I chew pro-lifers out. They'll say, "Oh, it's horrible, this abortion clinic called an ambulance." No, it's the responsible thing to do, to call an ambulance. So, like I said, we are not planning to violate this woman's privacy or her family's privacy, but I'm hoping Cheryl will get hold of the autopsy and we can find out what really happened. I do not anticipate, since they haven't been staying on top of inspections at this clinic and they're going, they didn't put her in an ambulance, it's not our problem, that even if it is the clinic's fault, I think it's going to be like the Gosnell where the state doesn't do anything about it. So I'll keep you posted.